Mayu Yoshida there in Tokyo. Well, let's talk more about that lukewarm debut. Joining me live from Burbank, California is international business executive Ryan Patel. So, Ryan, looking at this, what should we read into Softbank Mobile's disappointing IPO performance, and what do you think turned investors off?
Definitely wasn't lukewarm welcome. I mean, it was a welcome I don't think they expected. I think what investors were looking at is, they look at SoftBank originally. It is a telecom company that's maturing, and it's making a transition into an investment firm, but they're not there yet. So when investors are looking at this specific company, they're looking at a few things. One, that they have a lot of debt for the company right now, and obviously the SoftBank CFO has addressed that and as becoming a concern as well. But really, what has scared some investors has been the competition that the Japanese government has put a policy in that will be in place next year to create the telecom industry to make it cheaper for prices. So next year, right now SoftBank is number 3 in the market share. Number 1, number 2 are going to be slashing prices. So as investors are looking at them as a telecom company, it is going to become very, very difficult to get a higher bottom line.
So then, given Japan's focus on telco, just how much pressure was on this IPO to be successful, especially not just as Japan's biggest IPO, but the second biggest IPO in the world after Alibaba?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where, they needed to do this with the mobile unit to be able to raise some funding, to be able to inject some capital, because that was important. But you can't take away what they've been doing on on their vision fund and what they've done. They've had some good hits with the Flipkart investment, which was a $1.3 billion profit, which kind of is still not there. I think, again, they need to diversify and make their move to become that investment fund to that degree to help kind of put the pressure off of themselves.
Now, it's interesting because SoftBank is one of these companies that invests with a lot of different other companies and a lot of collaborations, but isn't really considered a global household name. Talk a bit about the sorts of investments that they've made and what really stands out to you.
Not yet. I think that's what they want. They want to be the global household name. They want to be the where entrepreneurs and startups come to be able, and especially in the tech house industry, to be able to get money. I mean, again, I mentioned Flipkart being one of their biggest wins, where they turned into a $1 billion profit into 1 year. Where Flipkart is obviously the India-based company that then sold to Walmart. I think SoftBank has also been into the technology hubs around the world of being able that, they've been Uber and some other places that they've done with kind of really putting pressure on leverages of scale. So right. SoftBank is not just after tech and specifically maybe one country, but they've looked at countries where they want to make more of a presence, like in the Middle East, which they have done in Saudi and obviously in the UAE, but also in India and Asia and in China and the US. But what doesn't help is this trade war piece between China and the US and what they do with their existing business as well.
And so to that point then, just quickly, what do you see as the major challenges given just how divested SoftBank is?
I think there's a few things. One, they've got to be able to get their own business in order and be able to get that debt. That is a lot to get that down. I think the second piece is the marketing conditions wasn't perfect. They wanted an IPO a few months ago in September, but they kept pushing this off until now, and still wasn't perfect timing with the Japanese market being down this month, I think almost 6 to 7%, if not more. And so I think the timing doesn't help. And the third piece is the clarity on what the competition is going to look like in the telecom industry and what they're going to do to stay competitive and ensure that their operations, as you mentioned from your reporter, that they had operational issues a few months ago with a shortage. So they've got a lot of things in play while they're making this transition, but they cannot forget their core business is in telecom and be able to stay competitive and be able to gain more market share.
All right. Thank you, as always. Ryan Patel there, International Business Executive.